Hello, beautiful and awakened souls, and welcome to another episode of the Awakened Souls podcast. I'm your host, Devin Brown, Kundalini activator, spiritual guide, mentor, and as always, just hopefully a great source of entertainment for you. Okay, so I pulled out my list and asked my guides what it is they would like to speak to you on today. And when I say they, I mean I am going to allow them to do a lot of channeling here in this podcast episode. It's going to be a little bit different. It's going to be very deep. And the reason behind that is they had asked me to talk about what is healing. And that is something that even me, myself, as a personal entity here having a human experience, I don't actually have an answer for. But what we're going to do is we're going to connect to my highest self. We're going to connect to my guides, and we're just going to allow them to kind of speak to us in and of itself. So if you're driving, by all means, just tune in, take what resonates, leave the rest behind, and here we go. A lot of people, when they think of healing, expect certain dots that have to be connected in order to say that they are healed. They expect certain dots and certain explanations to be put into place in order to state that I have healed in this certain way. And the problem with this is it creates this idea that everyone's healing looks the same. It creates this idea that everyone's journeys are the same. And it creates this idea that unless you are able to perform X, Y, or Z, then you are not good enough or not in a correct space in order to state that you are healed. And that is not the case. Every single one of you, when you came down here onto this plane and came down here into this life and into this realm, you stated what it was that you wanted to learn. You stated the lessons that you wanted to experience. And in doing so, you have allowed yourself the opportunity and allowed yourself the bandwidth to change in the way that is accomplished and in the way that is formed by the mission that you are here for. So I'm going to pop back in here. This is Devin. So I'm channeling my highest self. I'm channeling like the entity that I know that I am outside of just my human form. And that being said, some of the times when we do this, the words that I'm hearing and singing, because some of it is imagery, I'm trying to put into a human physical form and translating it from light language into a physical English word language. So I would challenge you, if there's anything that I state that you would like clarification on, I invite you by all means to please leave a comment and I will address it in the next episode, at the beginning of the next episode. If I feel that it is relevant to the actual content and helpful for other people, or if you want something a little bit more personal, I love getting emails from you guys at totheawakenedSouls@gmail.com. Like I absolutely, it's some of the way that some of my content comes about, like by having conversations with you and knowing what it is that you like to hear and what you need to hear. So diving back in, I'm going to allow my highest self just to take over in context of what does it mean to heal. When you are healing, there is this false idea that you are no longer reacting, but simply responding. And in a way that is true, because you're at a point where you understand that to respond is to make a conscious choice and a conscious effort into the words and actions of which you put into place. However, I would challenge you to understand that it is impossible in a human experience not to somehow react in one way, shape, or form to your environment. Every single thing that you do causes some sort of a reaction. That is why vibration is so important. That is why keeping the thoughts and ideas of what you put into your body, what you put into your mind, what you feed your soul is so important, because the idea is that as you are reacting and creating reactions simply by being, you are in fact healing. It's a matter of when you react to those lower vibrations by meeting them with said lower vibrations that it would be counterproductive to your healing. But even if something of a low vibration comes to you and you then respond or react in a way that is of a higher vibration, you in and of yourself are still healing. If you are reacting differently than you might have once react. Let's say, as an example, you snap at someone or respond immature or emotionally negligent in a way that you sit back and say, you know what? I'm really not proud of myself. I'm really not proud of the way that I reacted there. I'm sorry. And you take responsibility and you take accountability. That in itself is an act of healing. To say that we are healed is kind of a statement like saying the grass is green. Like, it's one of those things that there are so many shades of green. There's so many shades of the different grass. The grass dies and yet it still has this essence of green to it, but it's not the lively green that we know in the summer. To be healed is to still ebb and flow. To be healed is to still sometimes react to those things in your environment of which cause either memories to surface, either vibrational tendencies that make you feel anxious or make you question with curiosity what might be coming your way. There are multiple shades and multiple things that take place in our healing. It's the same thing with nature. It's the same thing with all of these beings and all of these things that come our way. Like, we are not ever going to be able to say in a human experience that I am completely healed. Because if that's the case, why are we even here? What would even be the point of coming down for this human experience? What would be the point of coming down for those of you who are higher beings and higher entities who agreed to come into human form, such as Mary Magdalene and Jesus and the Buddha and Mother Teresa and even Devin, who is speaking to you today? For those of you who have come down as higher beings and higher entities who are here to speak, who are here to guide, who are here to give to other people, you yourself are never fully healed, not in this life, because you have come into generational trauma and you have chosen the families of which you came down into, in essence, to heal that family lineage. But you yourself can only make those choices that align with how it's going to heal you. You yourself can only make those choices that align with how it is going to line up with yourself. Like, you are not able to control other family members. You are not able to control the full lineage. You are not able to control those people of which you come into contact with. Now, you may control your circle. You may control those people who are able to have direct access to you, direct access to your energy. And I actually highly encourage you to be careful who you allow deep roots into your energy. I am not one that believes that every interaction needs to be with positive people. In fact, I know that my being chose to come down specifically to react and be with those who are of a lower vibration by teaching them how to raise their vibrations, how to raise themselves out of darkness, how to raise themselves into the light, how to move themselves into a place and into a space that brings tranquility and brings understanding. That does not mean that I am healed. Just because I can do that does not mean that I am perfect. Just because I can do that does not mean that my healing journey is over. So when people say, what does it mean to heal? To heal is to show up for yourself. To heal is to show up in the vibration that brings peace, that brings laughter, and that brings joy. It does not mean that you will experience all of those feelings all of the time. That is not what healing means. But it does mean that the choices you make will align yourself with decisions that are going to bring more of those things to you. And I hope that this makes sense. I hope that you understand this. And I hope that by speaking these things and by speaking these examples, it speaks deeply to you. Now we're going to allow Devin to give some personal examples for herself on healing, but I'm going to challenge myself to share some things. I'm switching, if you can't tell with my voice. I'm also I'm going to share some personal things about myself and my own journey. So thank you, highest self. So I can agree with everything that was just channeled. I can agree with all of that. But one thing I can state is I had this very false idea and this false narrative when I was healing that I needed to kind of shout it from the rooftops. I needed evidence. I needed proof that I was different. I needed to show people that I was doing really well. I needed to show people and explain to people how amazing this journey is. And that was the way that I was going to cause people to go on their own path of healing. That was the way I was going to cause people to accept their own journeys. And that's taking responsibility for other people's journeys. That's taking responsibility off of themselves and saying like, okay, I'm supposed to help you. And that's a very codependent trait. And that's something that I have fought very hard and worked very hard with cognitive reframing, with EMDR therapy, with self-work, with tantric release, with generational, going back and doing astral projection and astral healing and all of this stuff. I have worked very, very, very hard to make sure that I release that for myself. And with that being said, though, I still have moments of failure and I still have moments where I compromise, and I still have moments where I'm allowing that scared person to vibrate and to move forward. I'll give an example. I've talked about this on my podcast in the past couple episodes. If you're just jumping in, backstory, I was with someone who was like a karmic twin flame. Like they showed me everything within myself that I still need healing. This person helped me heal in the most beautiful, magical way. This relationship was one that I do not regret for a second. We actually broke up over the summer, and I'm with somebody different now who is very healthy and very stable and just an amazing person, but he's not who this story is about. Going backwards, I compromised myself and I stayed in something out of fear for longer than I should have. If I was a healed, and I'm using finger quotes, version of myself, I probably would have recognized that we were beginning to create a toxic dynamic sooner than I would have. I would have recognized that a trauma bond was forming sooner. And I'm grateful for this person because he recognized what was taking place. And he was the one that brought it to my attention. And we were able to have multiple discussions over multiple weeks that brought us to a place of agreement where we decided like we're better off being separate. Like it's heartbreaking. It was something that neither of us wanted it to end, but we knew that for the benefit of each other, we had to let each other go. And the healed version of myself looks back, and I'm using healed relatively, looks back and says like, I wish that person would have recognized that. But even now I sit there and I look back and I recognize how much I learned in that relationship, how much I grew in that relationship, how much that relationship formed me. I was still healing. I am still healing. Always, every day, every choice that I make is still healing. And every choice that I make is either going to bring me closer to the highest self version that I know, because I know myself very intimately. I know who I am. I know who I am on a spiritual level. I know who I am as a spiritual being. I know where my soul family comes from. I know who my guides are. Like I am very, very, very connected to who I am in the astral. And there's a lot of times that the astral makes more sense to me now than this human world that I'm living in. And I recognize though that this human world that I'm living in needs my light. It needs my brightness. It wants it. It craves it. It desires it. And healing is not just for myself. It's for future generations. It's for my children who are watching me break generational curses. It's for my children that are watching me say, this is enough. I will go no further down this hole that my predecessors had chosen to do. We pick our families for a reason. We pick our families for a reason, not just for the lessons that we're going to learn, but for the generational DNA of which we want to heal and what we want to fix. And we are always healing. We are always evolving. We are always adapting. We are always changing. Just like the channeled message stated about the grass, like it's always different colors, even in the winter when it seems dead. It's still alive. It's still moving. It's still transient. It's still multiplying into something beautiful when the sun will come out and that warmer weather will be conducive to move it out of its place of rest. So If someone were to ask me, myself personally, like as a human being, what is healing? I think my message for that would be healing is when you learn to transmute every thought and every action into a higher vibration than it was the day before. It doesn't mean that you're at full success. It doesn't mean that you have fully succeeded, because there are days when we fall so far we feel like we were 5 years ago, or we react to something that we're just so embarrassed for the way we reacted. We have moments of failure. That's part of the human experience. That's part of being who we are. We all do it. But the beautiful thing is, I get to look back and see that I am further up that mountain than I was when I started my journey. And that is healing. And I don't think we give ourselves credit enough, especially when you feel like you have to defend your healing, especially when you feel like you need to defend your boundaries, especially when you look back with sadness on the way certain relationships ended or the way certain things took place. Like, I lost a lot of people I would consider friends in my healing journey. Some of them I was very sad to see go. Some of them I still wish and hope that things could be different, but I don't think they will be. I don't think it would be healthy for either party. I, however, recognize and know that that's okay. I recognize and know that it doesn't take away my value. It doesn't take away how much I have healed. It doesn't take away how much I'm going to heal, because every day I get to make decisions that are going to bring me to a place of healing. Every day I get to make decisions that are going to help me know what I need to do to heal myself, because my healing journey is going to be different than someone else's. And this is why it's so important when you are working with someone like myself, when you are working with a mentor or a spiritual guide or a being of some kind, to make sure that you are finding the one that fits who and where you want to be. On my healing journey, I have stepped away from some leaders. I have added others. I have gone back to others. Like, I have followed my vibrational frequency to gain what it is that I needed. Because one of the things I also have to recognize is that timelines shift, things change, people change. I'm no longer a vibrational match for certain things that I was before. And sometimes it's a matter of that person shifting back into your vibration, but other times it's a matter of you yourself just finding the right vibrational match for people and relationships that are meant to be there. And getting into relationships, healing in relationships is impossible if you do not have a partner that is willing to see you grow and change. Unless you are willing to keep that part completely separate from them. And that's not to say that that's not possible. That's not to say that that's not something that can take place. Like, that it definitely can, but it's harder. But I would challenge you to know and to understand that you are still able to grow and have relationships that are not necessarily romantic as you grow and heal into something else. Because sometimes it takes the person, the divine feminine, to come along and help the divine masculine activate, so to speak. And I do have an entire podcast episode on this a couple months ago. If you go back down, you can see how to heal the divine feminine and how to heal the divine masculine. But it also takes, in order for a divine feminine to truly be in her power, the divine masculine energy. And this is not gender specific. I'm going to just state that this is not meaning it only works for a heterosexual relationship. That is not what this means whatsoever. I'm talking about the energies. We all have feminine and masculine energies within us. It takes the masculine and feminine balance, and for the masculine to be at a place of support for the feminine, to let them feel safe enough to flow. Healing is flow. That's what I think the answer would be for me if someone said, what is healing to you? Healing is flow. It's flow in the way that I'm a leaf on the water. However, if I get stuck between two rocks, I grow legs and I'm able to walk over them. It is the masculine energy able to pick myself up and say, okay, I got this. It's fine. And then get back into the water and just flow again. Like flow is letting go of anxiety. It's letting go of frustration. It's letting go of those things that come against you in a way that cause you to question yourself, cause you to doubt yourself, cause you to maybe make decisions that you regret. Flow is a way in which you can shine. It's a way in which you can just grow and know yourself. And it is the most beautiful and wonderful thing that you can ever experience. If you would like to work with me, I am taking on new clients for private one-on-one energy healing along with Akashic record readings. This is a space where we go and we connect you to your guides, we connect you to your source, we connect you and get you back onto an open vibration, removing blockages. Everyone's experience is a little bit different. By all means, if you have any questions, you may shoot me an email or message me on the Patreon site. There is a link here in this bio that gives all the information for what it is and how to connect with me. My book is out for order. You can order it on Amazon. You can order it at Barnes & Noble. You can also go to your local bookstore. It is available. Devin Brown, Brown with an E, and The Power Within Us, A Letter to Awaken the Souls, a catalyst for your Kundalini activation. It is here. It is active. It is ready to transform your life in the most beautiful way. It also has been released on Kindle if you are a Kindle reader. I personally will be coming up with an audiobook for this. This will be sold on my Patreon site. It is going to be read by me. It is going to use activation and light language throughout the book as we read it. And it is going to be something that allows you to hear my voice, hear the book written in my words. And so if that's something you're interested in, it's probably going to be a good 6 months before that is fully finished and ready to come out. So don't wait. By all means, get the Kindle version, get the paper version. It's only a 60-page book. It is not that big. It's a very easy read. It is something that I know all could benefit from. And if you'd like to connect with me, I have my Linktree account linked to this. You can find the page to order the book. You can find my podcast. You can find my Facebook, my Instagram, all of that. I love connecting with you guys. I love hearing your stories. I love hearing how I have impacted you. I love answering your questions. So as always, I hope you beautiful souls have a wonderful day and go out there and enjoy your healing journey because joy's the key. Joy is the key.